Welcome back, gearheads. In the 1990s, while everyone was chasing muscle cars and flashy imports, America hid something special. Ordinary-looking sedans and pickups with serious bite. Some could outrun sports cars without breaking a sweat. These are the 15 unknown American sleeper cars of the 1990s. Number 15, 1993 GMC Typhoon Turbo AWD V6 SUV. From quiet four doors to fire-breathing sleepers, our list kicks off with a car that looks like it belongs in a DMV parking lot, yet runs with early 90s Corvettes. A basic sedan? Not quite. After talking about a Dodge sedan that smoked vets, let's crank the weirdness up. What looked like a soccer mom's grocery getter, but could outgun a Ferrari 348 off the line? Meet the GMC Typhoon, an SUV that rewrote every rule about what a family hauler could do. Under the hood, a turbocharged 4.3-liter V6, putting out 280 horsepower and 360 pound-feet of torque, sent to all four wheels through a full-time all-wheel drive system. The result? 0 to 60 in just 5.3 seconds in 1992. In an SUV from GMC. Born from the same mad genius team that built the Syclone, the Typhoon was built to brawl in a straight line. It had the body of a blazer, the soul of a muscle car, and the heart of a turbocharged beast. But unlike the Syclone, it had leather seats, upgraded suspension, and came in multiple colors. This was the performance sleeper dressed in luxury drag. But don't get too starry-eyed. It was expensive, quirky, and not built in large numbers. Plus, corners weren't exactly its best friend. Still, an SUV that could gap a Mustang GT in the early 90s? The Typhoon stood as proof. The 90s didn't care what shape your car came in, only that it could move like hell when the light turned green. Number 14, 1992 Pontiac Bonneville SSEi, supercharged 3.8-liter. You'd think one sleeper sedan from this lineup was enough. But what if the next version got sharper, faster, and even more confident, all while staying just as invisible? From 1992 to 1995, the full-size Pontiac Bonneville SSEi American machine quietly evolved. It still looked like something your uncle drove to Sunday brunch, but under the hood. It carried a supercharged 3.8-liter V6, now refined to deliver 225 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. That translated to a 0 to 60 time of around 6.7 seconds. Not bad for a four-door land yacht with leather seats and wood trim. This one added a sportier edge, a stiffer suspension, upgraded wheels, and sharper steering that hinted, just barely, that it was more than a soft cruiser. Inside, it still offered luxury touches like dual-zone climate control and digital dash readouts, but the real magic was how it moved. Step on it, and this thing surged past slower traffic like it had something to prove. Not everything aged perfectly, though. The styling leaned hard into 90s curves, and the bulky proportions never really screamed speed. Still, it didn't need to, because while other cars shouted, this one whispered, then quietly blew past you on the highway. And the next sleeper, even less flash, even more bite. Number 13, 1995 Oldsmobile LSS, supercharged 3.8-liter. So far, we've looked at highway missiles that wore family car disguises, but the next one, it dressed even quieter. A car built for realtors, retirees, and country club valets, yet it packed more punch than most muscle cars from a decade earlier. From 1995 to 1997, this big American sedan, the Oldsmobile LSS, came alive with the same supercharged 3.8-liter V6. But in this version, it cranked out 240 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. That was enough for a 0 to 60 sprint in just over 6.5 seconds, all while riding in complete air-conditioned comfort. It didn't shout, it didn't flex, it just moved. This model was quietly tuned for sharper road manners than its badge suggested. It had a surprisingly responsive steering rack and a suspension setup that kept it composed on curvy back roads. The cabin was full of plush leather, wood grain, and a digital dash that felt borderline futuristic at the time. Its only real downfall? Looks. It blended in almost too well. The styling was clean but forgettable, even when equipped with its subtle badging and alloy wheels. And while the ride was smooth, the front-wheel drive setup still struggled under full throttle. Still, this car didn't care about street races. It just waited for the green light and then vanished. Wait till you see what's next. It's smaller, lighter, and a whole lot meaner. Number 12, 1992 Dodge Spirit ES 2.5-liter Turbo i4. We've seen quiet power wrapped in leather and wood grain. Now let's get scrappier. This next one looked like something your high school history teacher might have driven, but under the hood it was far from academic. In the early 90s, this boxy four-door was armed with a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline-4, delivering 224 pound-feet of torque and 150 horsepower. Not huge numbers on paper, but in a lightweight chassis, they meant business. The 1992 Dodge Spirit ES Turbo could rocket from 0 to 60 in just over 7 seconds, leaving bigger, louder cars scrambling to keep up. Built during a time when its maker was experimenting with compact performance, this sedan was one of the rare few to blend true sleeper styling with actual speed. No spoilers, no scoops, just clean lines, dull paint, and hubcaps until the boost kicked in. And when it did, you'd feel the torque hit hard, even through the front wheels. Was it perfect? Not quite. The handling was average, and torque steer made the front end twitchy under pressure. But that raw, turbocharged surge made every straightaway a thrill. And the best part? Most people never saw it coming. We've got more stealth legends just like this one. So hit that subscribe button and don't miss what's coming next. Number 11, 1993 Pontiac Grand Prix STE. After the last car proved that turbo torque could come from the most unassuming shell, this next one takes a different approach, more refined, more high-tech, and quietly ambitious. At a glance, the 1993 Pontiac Grand Prix STE looked like a comfortable cruiser for your uncle who liked talking suspension geometry at family dinners. But buried inside was a 3.4-liter DOHC V6, a complex engine shared with GM's experimental W-body performance line. This thing cranked out 210 horsepower and 215 pound-feet of torque, pushing it from 0 to 60 in around 7.5 seconds. Not blistering, but for a sedan that barely registered on radar, it was serious heat. It had advanced features for its time: computer-controlled suspension, four-wheel disc brakes, and a driver information center that felt borderline sci-fi in the early 90s. And it all came together in the 1993 Pontiac Grand Prix STE, a car more sophisticated than it let on. Of course, complexity came at a price. That DOHC V6 was notoriously difficult to work on, and reliability wasn't its strongest suit. But for those few years, it stood as one of the boldest mid-size sleepers America ever produced. Number 10, 1992 Chevrolet Lumina Euro 3.4. If the last one flexed its muscles through sophistication, this one took a louder, but still overlooked route. It was the kind of car you'd spot in a mall parking lot next to a minivan and never give a second glance. But under that low-profile body was GM's 3.4-liter LT1 double overhead cam V6, a motor borrowed from more ambitious platforms, pushing 210 horsepower and 215 pound-feet of torque. That meant 0 to 60 in about 7.2 seconds, all while wearing the badge of a family sedan. It came with a sport-tuned suspension, dual exhaust, and sharper steering, all hiding beneath what most people thought was a car reserved for rental fleets. This was the 1992 Chevrolet Lumina Euro 3.4, and for a few brief years, it tried to punch above its weight in a market that didn't know what to do with it. It was GM's attempt at a Euro-style sports sedan, even if it still looked like it belonged in a corporate carpool. Of course, the engine's maintenance needs were a handful, and the automatic transmission held it back from being something truly special. But still, how many front-drive sedans in the early 90s were this gutsy? Ever seen one of these tear past you and wondered what it was? Drop a comment and let me know. Number 9, 1994 Dodge Spirit RT. After the Lumina tried to act European, this one actually delivered a left hook nobody saw coming, especially from a brand known more for minivans than muscle. It looked like something your uncle drove to the post office. Boxy, modest, totally forgettable. But in the early 90s, the 1994 Dodge Spirit RT hid one of the most aggressive four-cylinder engines ever shoved into a front-wheel drive American sedan. We're talking about the 1994 Dodge Spirit RT, a car that rolled up with 224 horsepower, 217 pound-feet of torque, and a 0 to 60 time of just 5.8 seconds. That's faster than a Mustang GT of the same year. What made it wild wasn't just the power, it was how it made that power. A Lotus-designed 16-valve DOHC head sat on top of a turbocharged 2.2-liter inline-4. This wasn't some parts bin special. It was the most powerful front-drive sedan made in America at the time. But it wasn't perfect. Torque steer was a battle, and the K-car roots made handling a bit sketchy under pressure. Still, when it hit boost, it surprised everyone, especially the guy in the next lane. Number 8, 1991 Ford Taurus SHO, Yamaha V6. Moving on from the Spirit RT's turbocharged Fury, let's talk about something that didn't scream performance, yet absolutely stunned anyone who underestimated it. The 1991 Ford Taurus SHO. On paper, it was a family sedan. Full stop. But under that boxy, unassuming shell, it hid a Yamaha-developed 3.0-liter DOHC V6, cranking out 220 horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque. A car built to cruise to Costco, but quick enough to leave a few sports cars in the dust. The 0 to 60 time? 6.8 seconds, which at the time was downright snappy for a mid-size sedan. Its performance pedigree came from a Japanese powerhouse, Yamaha, who tuned the engine to make the Taurus show not just a sleeper, but an unexpected performer. And yet, this wasn't just about straight-line speed. The SHO featured an upgraded suspension and tighter handling, giving it a sports car edge that most people missed. But the Taurus SHO wasn't perfect. Its high-revving engine needed constant attention, and some felt the interior lacked the refinement that matched its performance chops. Still, when you heard that V6 scream to life, it was a different world. Would you have ever guessed it could do all that? Let me know in the comments. Number 7. 1996 Buick Regal GS 3.8-liter supercharged V6. We next have a car that looked like it belonged in a quiet suburban driveway, but with enough power to leave the competition gasping for air. The 1996 Buick Regal GS was a family sedan with a dark side. Underneath the hood, a supercharged 3.8-liter V6 pushing 240 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. It might have looked like your grandparents' daily driver, but once that supercharger kicked in, it could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.5 seconds. For a car with all the elegance of a Buick, that's impressive by any standard. Its smooth ride, comfortable interior, and solid build made it a hit with those who valued comfort. But the real story was how it could handle a drag race or give any sports sedan a run for its money, all while staying under the radar. This car was a wolf in sheep's clothing, and it wasn't afraid to show its teeth when provoked. But not everything was perfect. The Regal GS was a bit heavy, which made its handling a little less nimble than other, sportier sedans. Still, for the price and the power, it was a bargain. Number 6. 1994 Chevrolet Caprice Classic LT1 V8. After the refined yet speedy Buick Regal GS, we now turn our attention to a car that doesn't look fast at all, but don't let its grandfather-friendly appearance fool you. The 1994 Chevrolet Caprice Classic may have been built with comfort and spaciousness in mind, but under the hood sat an LT1 5.7-liter V8 engine, producing 260 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. This powertrain was straight out of the Corvette, and it gave the Caprice Classic the kind of muscle you wouldn't expect from a large family sedan. It could reach 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.7 seconds, making it quicker than many sports cars of its time. This car wasn't just a straight-line performer. It handled surprisingly well for its size, with a smooth ride and a well-tuned suspension. Yet, despite its impressive performance, it remained largely unnoticed by many, especially since its boxy, utilitarian design didn't scream sports car. It was a true sleeper, silently obliterating the competition without breaking a sweat. But all wasn't perfect. Its size made tight cornering less agile, and it was far from the most refined interior. Still, it had a raw power that made it stand out in the right moments. Number 5. 1998 Oldsmobile Intrigue GLS. Let's look at a car that not only shocked the streets with its performance, but also blended luxury with unassuming speed. The 1998 Oldsmobile Intrigue GLS was a mid-size sedan that defied expectations. Under the hood, it packed a 3.5-liter short-star V6 engine, delivering a healthy 215 horsepower and 230 pound-feet of torque. This was enough to propel the Intrigue from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 7.5 seconds. Impressive for a family car. The short-star V6, while not as famous as some of the bigger powerhouses of the era, was a finely tuned engine that combined both smoothness and power. Despite its sleek, modern design, many overlooked the Intrigue's performance potential. With its unassuming look, it blended in perfectly with other sedans, making it a true sleeper in every sense. The car was built with comfort in mind, featuring a well-appointed interior and a smooth ride, but it also had the chops to take on more aggressive sedans of the time. However, no car is perfect. The steering feel was often criticized as being too vague, and while the ride was comfortable, some found it a bit soft for sporty driving. It's a car that could slip under the radar, but if you were behind the wheel, it was a blast to drive. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button for more hidden gems like this one. Number 4. 1996 Lincoln Mark VIII LSC. After the quiet power of the Oldsmobile Intrigue, we step into a car that blends luxury with a surprising performance edge. The 1996 Lincoln Mark VIII LSC was more than just another full-size luxury coupe. It was a true sleeper with an attitude. Under the hood, the Marquis VIII LSC housed a 4.6-liter V8, cranking out 280 horsepower and 290 pound-feet of torque. With a 0 to 60 mile-per-hour time of 6.7 seconds, it offered performance that could hold its own against many sportier competitors. The refined suspension and lightweight aluminum body meant the car could glide down the highway with ease, while still providing plenty of power when it was time to unleash it. But here's the catch. The Mark VIII LSC's design was sleek and elegant, almost to a fault. It didn't scream muscle car, so most people were caught off guard when it made a quick getaway. The downside? Despite the power, it lacked the precise handling you might expect from a performance car, and some drivers found the interior a little too geared toward comfort than outright speed. So, was the Mark VIII LSC too much luxury and not enough bite? Or did it strike the perfect balance? Drop a comment and let me know. Number 3. 1994 Chevrolet Impala SS. Let's shift gears to something with a little more muscle and mystery. A full-size sedan built for comfort, but with the heart of a muscle car? Let's talk about the 1994 Chevrolet Impala SS. When Chevrolet revived the Impala nameplate in the 1990s, they did it with a bang. The 1994 Impala SS came equipped with the legendary 5.7-liter LT1 V8, producing 260 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. It could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.5 seconds, a surprising time for a car of its size and design. Its performance-tuned suspension, paired with the potent engine, made it a surprisingly nimble beast on the road. However, this big sedan had its flaws. Despite the muscle car engine, the Impala SS was still a full-size cruiser, meaning it wasn't the sharpest handling car when it came to tight corners. The interior, while spacious and comfortable, lacked the kind of refinement that might have matched its performance credentials. So, what did this car really excel at? Was it a true muscle car disguised as a family sedan? Or was it just a fun, powerful ride with a few compromises? Number 2. 1997 Mercury Grand Marquis HPP. After the raw power of the Impala SS, let's shift to something that seems like it belongs in the slow lane, but holds a secret under the hood. A car built for comfort, but powerful enough to surprise you on a straightaway? Let's talk about the 1997 Mercury Grand Marquis HPP. The Grand Marquis HPP was Mercury's answer to anyone who underestimated it as a mere family sedan. Under its polished exterior, it packed a 4.6-liter V8 engine, delivering 190 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. This might not sound like much on paper, but combined with a sport-tuned suspension and rear-wheel drive, it could launch from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 8 seconds, which is impressive for a car of its size and weight. But the HPP wasn't all about speed. Its handling was significantly sharper than the standard Grand Marquis, thanks to a sportier suspension and upgraded brakes. However, its hefty frame and soft ride still made it a bit sluggish in tight corners. Was it a true sleeper that could keep up with sports sedans, or just a big cruiser with a bit more bite? Number 1. 1991 GMC Syclone. And now we reach the top. A vehicle so absurdly fast, it was banned from competing against sports cars because it kept winning. A machine that looked like a work truck but could shame Ferraris in a straight line. This wasn't a Corvette, a Mustang, or anything you'd expect. It was a shadow-lurking monster that flipped the script in 1991. This unassuming pickup was no muscle-bound showboat, it was a silent assassin. Behind its blacked-out grille sat a turbocharged 4.3-liter V6 paired with all-wheel drive, pushing out 280 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. That combo launched it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.3 seconds. Yes, in the early 90s. Yes, faster than a Ferrari 348. The truck? The 1991 GMC Syclone. Born from a time when GM wanted to prove it could build something absolutely insane if it wanted to. It wasn't about hauling lumber, it was about smoking sports cars at the lights and still looking like a delivery guy's ride. But even legends have their flaws. It wasn't cheap, it didn't tow much, and the production numbers were limited, just under 3,000 units. And yet, in the right hands, this compact pickup could outrun almost anything on the road. So, was this the most misunderstood American performance vehicle of the 90s? Or the ultimate sleeper, hiding in plain sight? Which one would you throw into a late-night freeway duel? No hype, no logos, just stealth and speed. Drop your sleeper pick in the comments, smash that subscribe, and keep that seatbelt clicked. The next lineup, even more unhinged.